Over the last 25 years, I've had the privilege of interviewing and highlighting some truly interesting people. Everyone who is anyone, both the famous and the infamous, from presidents and their first ladies to kings and queens, movie stars and pop stars, captains of industry, heads of state, sports personalities, innovative entrepreneurs, and some pretty fascinating everyday people. Today, I'm proud to introduce you to Charles Brega, an attorney who is one of less than 1,000 attorneys in the United States who has been listed in the best lawyers in America since its first publication in 1983. Mr. Brega, it's a pleasure to speak with you. As a fellow attorney, I am honored to have this conversation, sir.
Thank you very much, and I enjoy it too.
Wonderful. So, Mr. Brega, just start with the basics. What kind of law do you specialize in?
I do trial work almost totally. Any kind of trial work, civil, criminal, domestic relations, personal injury, a lot of securities matters, those things.
Fantastic. And sir, I can tell you, as a former trial attorney, that's the thing that used to make me the most excited. I was on the prosecution side, so walking into a courtroom and saying Star Jones on behalf of the people of the state of New York was always the best thrill. What actually first interested you in a career in law?
Well, my granddad was a lawyer. My dad was a lawyer. Now, we lived in a town of 320 people, so there wasn't much to do there. But I guess I always wanted to be a lawyer, a trial lawyer.
Yes, sir. What attracts you to trial work?
I guess I talk too much.
I know the feeling.
I had to find an arena where I could talk a lot, and that's a trial lawyer.
And
I just love being in front of people and get to know people.
absolutely. And Mr. Brega, it's interesting. I've been asked numerous times by people, how was the transition from active trial work as an attorney to television? And I always say to them, I just traded in one jury for another. The jury of the viewers is just like my jury in the box.
Yeah, they may not be as hard to work with though as the jurors in the box.
I agree with you, sir. So why don't you share with us some of your proudest accomplishments as a lawyer?
Well, I don't know. You may think of different things for yourself, but one of them I think was the number of very sophisticated and sometimes famous people that I was asked to represent in various cases. And I liked that a lot. And I tried 13 first-degree murder trials, and the only one that wasn't acquitted was one where I was second chair when I first got out of law school. That was the Joe Coors case.
So you have to take me through. You're not getting away with just saying you've tried some pretty famous cases. You have to walk me through a few of them. Come on.
Well, I guess I'd start with saying probably that I've represented two judges in defamation cases against newspapers. In Colorado, there had not been a successful case in that regard. We won both cases. They called in New York lawyers to represent the newspapers, and the jury found for us. And in one case, all my client wanted the jury to do was just find defamation. He said, I don't care about the money. He was a manager of a city, and the jury came back with $110,000, and they told me afterwards he should have asked for more money than that. That was one of the kind of big ones. That was a fun case. Those are fun cases. I represented probably the head socialite lady in Denver in a murder case.
Wow.
She was charged with hiring somebody to kill her husband. That was the first time in Colorado, I'm almost certain, because I finally decided, she kept saying I didn't do this telephone conversation. I finally found the man at the University of Colorado who could take it apart, a telephone, and he took it apart and said, all of this is manufactured. Named words are put in there. And I called the DA and got him in to see it, and he dismissed the case. And so everybody was all excited in Denver because she was a really high socialite lady. So that was kind of fun, or a lot of fun, I guess. I found the juries in criminal cases, if you approach them properly. I'm not saying perfect about that, but they will really come out and tell you what they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of times you get a feeling that, they're holding something back. And I used to have a 3-question thing that I thought eliminated that all the time. And it did work a lot.
Okay, you have to give me the 3 questions, sir.
Okay, I'll do it if you don't mind.
Listen, I like learning, and Mr. Brega, when I get the opportunity to learn at the feet of a master, oh heck yeah, I'm going to take this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, I developed this. I'd ask them when they come in, raise your hand when you came in if you said, I wonder what that person did in the defendant's chair. And then they raised their hand. I said, so all of you people have eliminated the presumption of innocence right now. But don't think about that. Let's just go on. Then how many of you think if I don't call him to the stand, he will be guilty, be afraid to tell you? So if I call him, don't call him to the stand, the presumption is gone again.
Mm-hmm.
Third thing is, if I put him on, how many of you think that he'd lie to save his skin in a murder trial? Well, everybody's hand goes up. My hand goes up. Everybody's hand goes up. And this poor lady in one case in the front row said to me, Mr. Brega, is it too late for you to resign? I got an acquittal after that.
Absolutely.
In that case.
You listen, if you present the evidence, or the prosecution doesn't bear the burden, that's what's supposed to happen, sir. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. And I have to tell you, it's always been my experience, either in front of the jury as the presenting attorney or as a legal reporter, that when a case is fairly presented, the jury usually gets it right.
Yeah, I think so. I've always felt that way with it. And I always use my mom as an example because my mom was the first lady that sat on a jury in Nebraska.
Wow. Okay.
She came home and I was quizzing her about the case, and she said, "We don't know yet what he has done, but it's obvious he's done something." That stuck with me all my life. That is the one hurdle. If you don't get over that, you might as well go on home.
Yes, indeed. So, Ms. Brega, did you have any mentors who helped you achieve the success that you found in your career?
Oh, you bet. Bill Erickson was one of those. He was a man that hired me, and he hired me on Thursday, and I started a 5-day trial on Monday. And the judge sent me a greetings card for 5 years on that date for the first day as congratulations, and he treated me so well during the trial. It was wonderful. And Bill Erickson was a great teacher, great trial lawyer.
Mr. Brega, I started off by saying to our viewers that you are one of less than 1,000 attorneys in the United States that's been listed in the best lawyers in America since its first publication in 1983. But I neglected to say that you've tried over 500 cases in at least 20 states and 2 or 3 foreign countries. Your accolades, the list is very long. One of the top 10 attorneys in Colorado, personal injury, domestic relations, and divorce. You have done work in personal injury and practice, and you have done all kinds of litigation. Sir, the list of your awards is awe-inspiring. Tell me what that means to you.
Well, I suppose you like to see them on the wall. I don't care so much if anybody else sees them, but it's kind of fun to remember some of them, those things. And you get quite a bit more attention from judges when you have a case and you've done a little bit of what we're talking about, And so that's always a fun thing. I represented the legislature several times, and that was fun because half of them were one party and the other half of the other party, and we were trying to do some litigation for them. I was, anyway. And I represented the University of Colorado in many things over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And, people like that. The president called me one time and asked me to handle a case for him in Denver. So I did. Wasn't the president, but was one of his people who got shot by a fellow named Hinckley.
Oh, you think? Yes.
And I tried that case, lost it, because there wasn't any law that said that a doctor had to violate the privilege if the man was talking about criminal things.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they changed the law in Colorado.
Yes,
That
sir.
if it got that way, the doctor had the obligation to bring forward.
Mm-hmm.
But I lost the case that I tried with the Hinckley. But it made the law, so that helped a lot of people.
Absolutely. And sir, speaking of helping a lot of people, how do you give back to the community? I know volunteerism and philanthropy means something to you.
Well, I have picked out several things that my wife and I liked a lot, and we gave every year to them, and we gave every year to the church, and we gave every year to the university, and then we would give to these homeless places, generally through our church,
Yes, sir.
because they'd understand and know how to divvy it out, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that was a wonderful thing. So we always enjoyed that.
Absolutely. So, sir, as we come to an end, what's the one thing you'd like to leave our viewer with as it relates to the law and the practice thereof?
Well, what I think is, for the most part, we have good laws. And we've had them for a long time, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've kind of gotten away from that in some things in the legislatures around the country. And we've lost what we had in the Constitution in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothers me, concerns me, but, you know, I'm just one, so I don't know how to handle that. But there we are.
I think that you have handled it amazingly. I remember this quote by William Randolph Hearst when I was starting out as a young lawyer, and the quote is, "You must keep your mind on the objective, not the obstacle." And I was very focused on making sure I did justice, and anything that was in my way, I figured out a way to go around it.
That's good analysis. That's wonderful. You did. That really is good. So I'd like to try a case with you sometime. That'd be fun.
Okay. Look, I got challenged by the master himself. Oh, Mr. Brega, this has been the most rewarding conversation. I'm so glad that I got a master class from one of the best lawyers in our nation. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very honored to have that.